Hi, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to talk about embroidered lace. I believe it's actually called freestanding lace, and I've seen it called chemical lace, but I don't know that that's correct. But this is the type of lace where you embroider it on an embroidery machine on water-soluble stabilizer, and then you wash away the stabilizer and you're left with just the thread behind, which holds its shape together like lace. As always, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe for more content from me, and yeah, let's talk about this technique. So I have looked and looked and looked for tutorials on how to do this, and I haven't really been able to find anything. There's a lot of shorts out there or reels or TikToks showing people doing it, but there's no explanation on how to do it. So I have been trying this technique off and on for the past year for my Sakizo build, and I gave up on it on the panels, and honestly I kind of like the way that that turned out anyway, but I really want to use it on the front panel. So I hand drew out my design, digitized it in my Bernina software, and then I got to work with experimenting. The whole point of this video is to share with you my trial and error so that you do not have to go through the same stress and annoyance that I went through. I understand the process in theory. My problem is that the interfacing, the water-soluble interfacing, is not sturdy. If you do any kind of puffing, which is where the embroidery will stitch over the same spot multiple times to build up a 3D texture, it'll just rip right through it. Honestly, I've had that issue with lots of different types of stabilizers because I think that my designs I'm just making a little complicated, but I like complicated. I want them to work, but if I have to redesign it, I have to redesign it. We're gonna start off with the failed attempts, and then I will tell you how I got it to work, because I did in the end get it to work, kind of. So this is a water-soluble stabilizer. I purchased it off Amazon. I will not share with you the link because this stuff absolutely sucks. I don't want anyone to use it. This can barely hold up to one round of stitching. So like one flat round of stitching, and it starts to fall apart. So I tried to double it up to see if that would work. And it did work for a little bit, but any sort of stitching that goes over itself, it starts to fail. So I tried to use 3 layers. And this actually worked a lot better. I got most of the background of the lace stitched, but it started to fail around here, and you can see that the lace does not match the border. So it started to pull. You can kind of see the holes that are forming. It started to pull on it, and the tension was ripping through it, and everything became misaligned, so this one also failed. Just a side note, when you're thinking of your design, you need to make sure that everything is connected somehow. So you don't need to do a flat border lace like this, but you can't have a free floating shape. Like if I just had a circle down here, my original embroidery on fabric, that would be fine, but when I go to wash this away, that circle is going to float away and not be attached to the lace. So I know that's probably obvious, but I just want to make sure you realize that your design may need to be altered so that everything is connected and held together in one beautiful lace piece. So this is the most frustrating stabilizer in the world. I do not recommend it. It is going in the trash. So I did some research, and I was able to find a different kind of stabilizer. So most of the shorts I found, most of the short form videos I found that showed this technique used this clear stuff, and I have no idea how people get this to work. I did also try it with a tearaway stabilizer on the back, but it may be my design, but the tearaway stabilizer would get into, there's a bunch of little holes in here. It got caught in that, and I couldn't get it out, so it just had a bunch of white pieces, which I think I threw that one away in frustration too, so I don't have it here. But eventually I stumbled upon one example which used a water-soluble stabilizer that was white, not clear. And when I go on Amazon, all I see are these clear stabilizers. But I saw this one that was white, and I finally hunted down the brand and purchased it. It is on Amazon. I will put the link below. It's not affiliated or anything, but I believe the brand is Bra Thread. If I'm wrong, I will put it up here somewhere. But this has a completely different texture than that clear plastic stuff. This feels like fabric. It feels like it's woven, and it has strength to it, Whereas this clear stuff, it pulls so easily and just stretches and tears. This doesn't stretch. And so I had hopes for this. I decided to double layer it as a precaution, and I did my stitching. And normally the lace work works just fine and I have no problems with it whatsoever. It's when it comes to the outlines and the puffing that it all starts to fall apart. And as you can see here early on in the embroidery, it's not failing, which is super exciting. So I let it run a little bit throughout the night, and then I paused it, went to bed, and when I got up this morning, I had some issues with my sewing machine, which I don't know why. I'm not a Bernina expert. I don't know why some of these things happen, but my machine somehow recalibrated to a smaller hoop. And then by the time I figured out how to recalibrate it to the correct hoop, it was off by a couple millimeters, and I didn't realize it till it stitched a little bit. So I decided to just stop the embroidery and pull it off and remove the water-soluble interfacing to just test it and see if it even worked. It's fine anyway if I didn't take this one all the way to the end, because I actually selected the wrong file. So this is my old design. I changed out the lace work. So I have this more complicated lace work, which I think will be more stable than the lace work that was on the one that I selected. I forgot to delete it off my USB drive. So highly recommend, if you have a file that you don't want to use, remove it from your USB drive so you don't accidentally select it and waste a couple hours. I went ahead and removed it, and it was all looking really good. I didn't see any failure points outside of the weird shifting of the embroidery. And then I dunked it into some warmish water to melt away the interfacing. I was a little concerned when I put this in because the interfacing seemed to just not change, and I don't know why, but I expected some sort of like instantaneous reaction. It only took a few seconds, but I was really nervous it wasn't gonna work, and it did work. However, because it's the wrong file and didn't have the more complicated lacing structure, it's falling apart. So this is still wet and sticky and gooey from the soluble interfacing, but you can see it all melted away, and I'm left with this lace. I'm actually going to dissolve this one next, just to see if this lace work holds out, because this is my first time doing it. I don't know what kind of stitches work. So clearly the puffed up satin stitch worked just fine. Flat satin stitch, which are these circle ones, there's no puffing in there, they look fine, and I feel like if they had the structure of the lace work around it, they would have held their shape and been fine as well. So we'll give that one a go. But I am liking the way that everything but the lace work, how it works. If all else fails, I will just connect everything differently and get rid of this background lace work. I just thought that would look nice, and I thought it would add to the structure. So I'm gonna go ahead and try this one real fast and see if it works. If it works, then this is the one I'm going to go with. But I just wanted to pop on here and share with you some of the tips that I have learned with this technique. I know lace is becoming more and more popular, like your own custom handmade lace. This will help you out, especially if you're having frustrations as to why it keeps failing on the machine. So that is it. It really is just the wrong stabilizer. Use this white stuff. You can probably get a different brand, but make sure you look for the white water-soluble interfacing or stabilizer versus this clear plastic nonsense, and it should work out just fine. And also pay attention to your stitch types, do some examples, and see what works for your design. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and go and test this out and then start it all up again if it works. So of course, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe for more content from me, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.